Welcome back to High Stakes. Today, we will be discussing the following NFL matches that is happening on Friday, August 18, 2023. We will be providing our team, total and prop picks for the day. Before we get started, please remember to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. If you want access to our premium picks, you can check out our Patreon page. You can find the link to our Patreon page in the description and comments section below. Carolina Panthers vs New York Giants. Take the Giants to cover the number. And here is why. In their first preseason game, the Panthers had many issues, getting shut out 27-0 against the Green Bay Packers. Bryce Young, the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, was 4 of 6 passing for 21 yards. Young played 3 series and the Panthers picked up just 1 first down. Young didn't get much help from his offensive line as he was hit on 3 of his 7 dropbacks, including a shot to the center of his back from 290-pound defensive tackle Solomon Thomas on his first pass attempt. It was a lack of execution, starting with myself, Young said after the loss to Associated Press reporters. I definitely could have done better, and us as a unit all have to take accountability. We have to own this and get better. Panthers veteran backup offensive tackle Cameron Irving left with an injury to his right ankle. It is unclear how long Young will be trotted out for this second preseason game, but considering how hard he was hit, it may not be long. The offensive line was an issue, and if the Panthers want Young to keep his head on right, they will need to shore that up. Both the Panthers and Giants encountered contrasting viewpoints after their initial preseason game. In the midst of expectations for Bryce Young to kick off the regular season as Carolina's starting quarterback, his experience in the game was marked by consistent hard hits, owing to the Panthers' offensive line struggles. Evidently, the team conceded 5 sacks during the match. It's plausible that Young might be benched for the upcoming game as coach Frank Reich addresses the team's offensive line concerns. Consequently, we can anticipate a substantial appearance by Matt Carroll, who completed 15 passes for 122 yards in the previous game. While New York won't have Daniel Jones on the field, they boast a formidable defensive line. Concurrently, the Panthers are addressing issues within their offensive line. I believe the Giants have the upper hand in exploiting a budding Panthers offense. As for New York, Tyrod Taylor stands as a more than capable backup, and he's anticipated to receive additional playtime in this competition. Take the under as a second pick in what should be limited action for Bryce Young and no action for Daniel Jones. And here is why. The Giants did not showcase many of their offensive starters in a 21-16 opening preseason Week 1 loss to the Detroit Lions. Tommy DeVito played the bulk of the snaps under center, completing 15 of 24 passes for 155 yards and a touchdown. He also threw an interception. Tyrod Taylor, expected to be New York's number 2 quarterback behind Daniel Jones, saw limited action, going 3 of 4 for 7 yards before being replaced by DeVito. The Giants led 13-3 at the half, but Maurice Alexander returned a punt 95 yards for a touchdown at 2:37 of the third quarter. The team spent the week practicing against each other at the Lions headquarters in Allen Park. Wide receiver Colin Johnson did not return after a first-half knee injury. Do not expect to see Daniel Jones in the second game, but look for the Giants to give Tyrod Taylor a bit more run, considering he is expected to back Jones up. He is a veteran that has been in the league a long time, so he does not need that many reps. Tyrod will open the game again, with DeVito playing most of the second half. It is unclear how long and if Bryce Young will play in the second preseason game. He was beat up in limited reps in the first game, and they need the kid upright for this season. The line did not look good, giving up 5 sacks, so coach Frank Reich may be more than cautious with a rookie top pick. Spencer Brown received most of the carries at running back, carrying it 8 times for 34 yards, but big plays will be few and far between against a stingy Giants D. This will be a low-scoring game with most of the bigger plays made by Tyrod Taylor in the first quarter against a porous Panthers D. Cincinnati Bengals vs Atlanta Falcons. Take Atlanta minus 6.5 as a first pick. And here is why. The Bengals fell 36-19 at home to the Green Bay Packers last week in their first preseason game. Joe Burrow sat out with a calf strain, but he would not have played anyway. Jake Browning and Trevor Siemian split the reps at quarterback. Burrow suffered the calf strain early in camp. He threw some passes before the game, then watched from the sidelines. Coach Zach Taylor said the franchise player is progressing as he should. Browning, who was Cincinnati's practice squad QB last year, played the first half, going 10 for 17 for 95 yards and a pick. Siemian, a 31-year-old veteran signed in May, went 15 for 28 for 121 yards and an interception in the second half. Ultimately, that's what we're judged on, protecting the football and getting the team in the end, Zone Taylor said after the loss to AP reporters. Not enough of that tonight. The Bengals haven't said if Burrow will be back for the opener at Cleveland on September 10th. He will not play in any of the preseason games. Look for the same type of structure for the second game, with Browning opening the game and Simeon spelling him for the second half. The Falcons played a very small percentage of their starters in a 19-3 win over the Miami Dolphins last week. Logan Woodside started at quarterback and was 14 of 22 with 146 yards. Desmond Ridder has impressed teammates and coaches and will be the opening day starter for the Falcons. Arthur Smith made it clear that the starters would play, so expect to see Bijan Robinson and Ridder for at least the first 3 offensive possessions and, depending on how the game goes, possibly the entire first half. The spread is set at 6.5 for that reason, and the Falcons will have a huge advantage on a Bengals team that will be sitting the bulk of their offensive talent. Joe Burrow will not play, and neither will any top skill position players. Look for Ridder to deliver a strong first quarter and Robinson to impress. Take the over here as a second pick in what should be a high-scoring game. And here is why. The Falcons played a very small percentage of their starters in a 19-3 win over the Miami Dolphins last week. Logan Woodside started at quarterback and was 14 of 22 with 146 yards. Rookie D. Alford scored on a 79-yard punt return to ice the game. Atlanta coach Arthur Smith said the team's starters will see action against Cincinnati. Desmond Ridder, the Falcons' projected starter in Week 1, did not play. Ridder, who as a rookie started Atlanta's final 4 games last season, has impressed teammates and coaches with his poise and command in his second training camp as he looks to end the Falcons' streak of 5 straight losing seasons. Rookie running back Bijan Robinson, the number 8 overall pick by Atlanta, also did not play. Arthur Smith made it clear that the starters would play, so expect to see Bijan and Ridder for at least the first 3 offensive possessions and, depending on how the game goes, possibly the entire first half. Godwin Igwebuike had 13 carries for 70 yards and a touchdown, playing the bulk of carries at running back. He will back up Bijan in this game and likely play the remainder of the second half. The Bengals finished the regular season at 12-4 in 2022 and won 2 playoff games on their way to a second straight AFC championship date with the Chiefs in Arrowhead. The Bengals return most of the key players from last year's team as they prepare for the 2023 season. This preseason will be dedicated to deciding a few key position battles, notably the backup quarterback spot between Browning and Simeon. Simeon was brought in to be the backup to Burrow, but Browning has outperformed him thus far in camp and earned the starting nod against the Packers. Joe Burrow will not be available for this preseason game, and he will likely sit the next game as well. There is also the matter of Burrow's pending contract extension that likely will make him one of the highest paid players in the league, so the Bengals and Burrow do not want to risk anything putting him on the field. Defensively, the Bengals are strong, but do not expect to see many defensive starters, with the exception of a series or 2. Atlanta comes in as a 6.5-point favorite, considering Ridder and Robinson will see a lot of repetitions in the first half. I trust them to put up some points on a crew of backups playing for the Bengals.